Welcome back to day 5 of the free shed build. Today's a big one, and you can always tell that by the kit coming out. We've got the box of gold screws, we've got the drill bits, and the DeWalt T-Stack contains Hallelujah, the circular saw. Of course, somewhere in there's another Kelly's ice cream tub. And yes, my dad's old Black & Decker workmate, which does need a bit of care and attention, makes a heroic return from retirement. The garden railings double up nicely as a storage rack for some of the cladding boards. It's not fancy, but it is effective, which kind of sums up this whole free to build shed, really. It's functional and free, rather than fancy and flimsy. This one is firm but fair, full fat and fortified and formidable, fitted for a fight, but mostly free. That was the directive from the start. The process today is going to be simple and repeatable. Fix 2 stock blocks at the base of the door. This sets out your starting point. Lay your first tongue and groove board, screw it into place, pre-drill first of course, countersink second, screw in third. Trim the edge using a circular saw guided by either a speed square or a ruler, something with a straight edge. You know what a poor man's track saw looks like by now. It's clean, it's consistent, and it's hard to mess up, which is exactly what we want. After fitting the first board, take the door over to the shed and check your ground clearance. This is one of those measure twice, save yourself a headache later kind of moments. Luckily, everything clears nicely, so it's back to the workmate for a bit of copy and paste carpentry. Repeat the process again and again and again and again. It's boring, but it is satisfied when completed. Once all the boards are on, trim the edges in one pass for a consistent finish, and then sand everything down. This is the point where Bailey sensibly abandons the project and heads straight to the dog kennel. Can't blame him. It is a great dog kennel, my first build. But also, sanding is the woodworking equivalent of watching paint dry while sanding it. Most woodworkers hate sanding. I find it a little bit therapeutic, and I love the fact that you can actually feel success, which is much better than when you feel splinters, which is where my hate is aimed. Hanging the first door. Position the door in place and use temporary blocks inside the shed to clamp it securely. This lets you hold everything exactly where you want it before committing to the hinges. This is especially important when, like me, you're working on your own. Where has Daniel gone in these last few chapters? Has anyone seen him recently? Now you know why Bailey Dog is 2IC. We get our first proper look at the left door installed, and it's starting to feel like an actual shed now rather than just an ambitious pile of timber. Although my #1 subscriber will still make jokes about this being good kindling, or tell me that it's ready for a sculpture of Guy Fawkes to be added in time for big party on the 5th of November. And then, disaster. Halfway through the second door, we run out tongue and groove. Now, to be fair, I was building 2 sheds at the same time. 2 sheds built by 1 brain cell and 1 pile of tongue and groove. You see, there is another version of this shed at the bottom of the garden. Think Jekyll and Hyde. Think Bonnie and Clyde, but with more splinters and less romance. Think Ant and Dec, but with neither of them speaking to each other. Basically, it's less of a twin build and more of a split personality with a circular saw. I think of them as a duet where nobody actually knows the lyrics. I love them both equally, as only a father could. So the next day, we have a quick trip to the Garden Build office depot. It's about 20 miles down the road, and armed with optimism and more ice creams, I have a rummage in their skip, and then we're back in business. Oh, and I borrowed my son's long wheelbase Transit Custom, and I didn't add any fuel either. Now that seems fair to me, because in return he has let me build this shed all on my own. And I think of that as like van hire with extended emotional damage insurance cover included. Return home, build the second half of the door without filming it though. You'll just have to trust me on that one. Now, we swap out the temporary battens for the real hinges, and this is as close to cheating as this build gets. You see, these hinges were bought for one of my son's client jobs. Never used, somehow ended up back home in that JD Sports bag. Brand new, still in the packaging, completely free. But they do come into the category of reuse rather than recycle or reclaimed. The find of the century might sound dramatic, and you'd be right. That comes in chapter 6 when we're building the waterproof outer roof. We're into the final touches. The temporary battens get repurposed and installed at the top, inside the shed, as a doorstop. This stops the doors blowing inward when the British weather inevitably has a mood swing. It's time to add the decorative top trim. We've done this before on the side cladding, so this should be easier in theory. The reality is though, it's somehow more fiddly, and I'm not sure why. Wood does have a funny way of humbling you just when you think you've got the hang of it, doesn't it? And that's the structure basically complete, apart from the roof, which, small detail, does need to be completely waterproof. This is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Raining is our national sport. And that's where things get interesting, and where I will reveal, finally, the find of the century in action. That's coming up in Day 6, Chapter 6. I think Dan will join us again as well. Current work in progress title for that chapter is Dumb and Dumber. Grab some snacks, maybe an ice cream, make yourself a brew. It's going to be a good one.
Lovely. Hope you've enjoyed. See you again.